Hello there and welcome to Primetime. Well, in recent years, a lot of allegations of all different types have been made in tribunals of inquiry, but surely no tribunal has investigated an allegation quite as serious as that being examined by Judge Smithick. An allegation that a Garda or Gardaí colluded with the IRA in the murder of two Northern Ireland policemen, Harry Breen and Bob Buchanan, in 1989. The tribunal has been gathering evidence for 8 years now, and Judge Smithick is due to issue his report at the end of this month. Barry Cummins now reports on an extraordinary tale of accusation and denial and talks to some of those whose evidence was central to the tribunal's investigation.
For over 30 years, South Armagh was one of the most dangerous parts of the island.
This really was a no-man's land. The only writ that ran there was the IRA's.
Known as Bandit Country, the hundreds of deaths in South Armagh during the Troubles include the two most senior RUC officers shot dead by the IRA.
He put his two hands over his head and as he walked forward, but they just shot him.
The bodies of Chief Superintendent Breen and Superintendent Buchanan were taken from the scene this afternoon, almost 24 hours.
RUC do not accept the IRA claim that they came across the men after having set up roadblocks.
But did the IRA have help with this attack? Could a Garda have leaked information on the movements of Harry Breen and Bob Buchanan?
The Provisional IRA in South Armagh to take a chance on that day, that doesn't happen just like that.
I don't believe they got any assistance from the Garda.
The circumstances of these deaths is an astounding tale of claim and counterclaim involving double agents, military and police intelligence, and how the IRA freely and ruthlessly operated on both sides of the border. It was here on the Eden Apple Road in County Armagh, just over the border into Northern Ireland, that in March 1989, two senior RUC officers were ambushed by the IRA and shot dead. A short time earlier, Chief Superintendent Harry Breen and Superintendent Bob Buchanan had been at Dundalk Garda Station. Just how did the IRA know those two men will be travelling this direction at that time? Was there collusion by any Garda in those killings? That's the question the Smithick Tribunal has been investigating. Over the past 8 years in Dublin, Judge Peter Smithick has been inquiring into not who actually fired the shots that day, but whether any Garda colluded in the murders. Harry Breen and Bob Buchanan were both long-serving police officers. Harry's face was well known to the IRA.
That is a question I cannot answer at this stage.
2 years before his killing, Harry held a press briefing in the aftermath of the SAS operation in Loughgall, in which 8 IRA men and a civilian were killed. As the senior police officer in the area, it fell to Harry to display the IRA weapons which were recovered.
Some weapons were fired in actual fact before the explosion took place.
Is it correct to say that 8 men were killed?
That is correct.
I remember and recall very clearly that he himself didn't want to get up and do that interview, but felt that there was nobody else. And again, it's a mark of the man himself. You know, he led by example.
Alan Mains was the staff sergeant for Harry Breen at the time of his murder. He told the Smithick Tribunal Harry was concerned about dealing with some Gardaí.
So when he'd mentioned the fact that he had problems with Gardaí, you know, as a young sergeant I was quite shocked to hear that, because that was really the first time he ever shared that with me. But he said it in such a natural way that, you know, you knew rightly that he believed it. What Harry was sort of saying there was quite simply he didn't trust some people in the Guards.
The tribunal heard how rumours of collusion in other IRA killings in the 1980s were previously investigated, but no evidence was found to substantiate the claims. In 1987, Northern Ireland Judge Lord Gibson and his wife Cecily were blown up within seconds of driving over the border into Northern Ireland. They had only got off a ferry in Dublin that morning. The Smithick Tribunal heard Judge Gibson's travel plans could have been established without any collusion. In 1988, a husband and wife and their 7-year-old son were killed by an IRA bomb in the same location. Robert Maureen and David Hanna had just touched down at Dublin Airport from Florida and were heading home to County Down. Another Northern Ireland judge who drove an identical car and who had been on the same flight was the intended target. How did the IRA know that judge was supposed to be driving across the border at that time? This attack reignited debate about possible collusion, but again, there was no hard evidence.
You had in that period a number of IRA operations which led to people being killed, which had a sort of common geographical area and in some ways a common modus operandi.
In early March 1989, senior political figures raised concerns about the scale of cross-border smuggling by the IRA. As the senior police officer in Armagh, it fell to Harry Breen to deal with it. On Monday morning, the 20th of March 1989, less than 6 hours before he was shot dead, Harry arranged to travel to Dundalk to meet senior Gardaí. He asked Bob Buchanan to go with him. Bob was a father of 2 from Moira in County Down. As border superintendent, he often travelled across the border to meet Gardaí in Monaghan and Dundalk. The tribunal heard that in the 7 months before his murder, Bob Buchanan travelled 39 times across the border to meet Gardaí, each time travelling in his own car.
Growing up, yeah, we knew what he did, even up until the end, yeah. I mean, I knew his rank, seniority, etc. But was never privy to the sort of times he was going down south, because he never talked about it.
Bob Buchanan was actually off duty when he got the call. He immediately agreed to travel with his chief superintendent to Dundalk, arranging to meet him in Newry, and they could drive in Bob's car. It was